A lot of like what I want to do is kind of like motivate and inspire people. All right, so hey guys, welcome so much to my second podcast. I'm so glad to welcome all of you. Got another great story to share with all of you guys. I have Dr. Curtis Okpara from Houston, who's got a story I think that's really going to blow all your minds. And I personally am very excited to hear more and learn more about Curtis. And here we go. So Curtis, you're on board here. Why don't you say hi to everybody?
How's everybody doing? I really do appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk with everyone and share my experience with everyone.
All right, man. So I got to be perfectly honest with you, man. The first, the way I found out about you was in a suggested Instagram post on my Instagram feed. And I think it was for like Dr. Tribe or something like that, which I started following because it just basically features a lot of like cool young doctor stories. Right. And it was a post of you, like I guess it must have been from like 10 years ago or something. And you were wearing like a white tank top, standing in front of a car. And basically, the description was that you were a thug, and you were bad in school, and then like somehow you turned your life around. You became a doctor. Right. I started following you just based on that post alone. Right. And then just looking through your Instagram feed, I DM'd you last week and just tried to put this together because the more like little bits of information I got about you, the more fascinated I was about your story and like what you're all about. Sure. And like I said, I think a lot of people could benefit and would love to hear a story like yours, man. So I guess let's just take a step back. Let's like start at the beginning, man. Were you? I think what I gather from your Instagram is that you're of Nigerian descent, but you're probably born in Houston or came to Houston at a young age.
Yeah. So my parents were born and raised in Nigeria, and when they came here in 1980, they lived here for a little while before I was born and raised here. So I've lived here all my life, but I visited back and forth to Nigeria for a while now.
So you have a lot of family back in Nigeria, like aunts and uncles?
A good about 99% of my family is still back in Nigeria.
Oh, wow. So how old were you when you came to Houston?
Well, I was born and raised
you were born and raised in Houston. Okay. What do your parents do? Are they in the medical field also?
Yes. So my dad is a director of pharmacy here in Houston. Okay. And my mom, she was a registered nurse for a while before she opened up her own home health care agency.
Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So it sounds like you had like a pretty solid upbringing. Your family was like very well educated and like right. But something steered you down the wrong road. It sounds like at some point. Right. Tell me a little bit about your childhood. I know you played football. Did you play football for Baylor?
Yeah, I did play football for Baylor.
All 4 years?
No, 3 years. I ended up quitting after my third year when my coaching staff got fired and they brought in a new coaching staff. My position coach kind of gave me the ultimatum in terms of football versus education, even though it's not supposed to be that way. Right. But in a nutshell, if I was missing practices for study for the MCAT for pencil review classes, then I wasn't going to play much on the field. So, I had to pick one or the other.
Were you you were playing in the game, you were starting and stuff?
I was playing a lot. Oh, wow. And then but the thing was that my coaching staff left, so we had a new coaching staff that came in.
Gotcha.
So it was pretty much, everyone was back to square one.
Gotcha.
And I had to prove myself. And because it would have been too much to kind of overcome at that point.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let's see if you'll take a further step back. So I know one of the posts, I think it was that same post actually, you mentioned that you had like a 1.8 GPA. Right. And, you were kind of getting in trouble with the law maybe a little bit, getting in some fights and that sort of stuff. When was that? Was that like during college or high school?
No, that was actually even earlier. That was like during high school. Okay. Like I said, I've had a very strong upbringing. My parents are very educated. They're in the health field. But as kids, you kind of want to do your own thing. And my parents although the upbringing was very good, they were very strict. Mm-hmm. So, as kids, you kind of want to rebel against them, do your own thing. And because, I couldn't really go places, I couldn't do things with my friends like on weekends and things like that. It was kind of like, I felt like it was kind of like I was being a rebel. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. I got the same kind of story, man. So I've been there, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So even during then, what I wanted to do was play football, pretty much run around the streets. And for me personally, I was a hothead, and I love boxing and I love fighting. So we used to street fight all the time, wear gloves, record it, you know what I mean? And because we were young and high-headed people and playing football, if people would, talk bad about us or whatever, we were quick to want to get in fights, you know what I mean?
Business,
yeah, exactly.
Were you always like a good? So my personal story is like a little. It's not quite similar to yours, but sort of like I was very rebellious as a kid, and I was like did terrible in school, and I kind of like got my shit together later on.
Right.
But same sort of thing. Like my mom was very strict. Like education was like everything, and the same shit that all of us kids go through.
Right.
But I was always really smart, so like I could always like do really well on a standardized test. It was like like this. I'd do amazingly well on a standardized test, but I'd have like D grades. So
I got you.
Because I was like rebellious. Was it kind of like were you like if you applied yourself, it would have been like you had the smarts, but you didn't have the work ethic type of thing.
Right. So I wish I was that way. I wish I was the type that you can kind of look at something once and be good. For me personally, I would have to go through information multiple times. So I didn't. Honestly, through college, I had no idea how smart I was because I would always do enough to get by, so to speak.
Totally,
you know what I mean? So even then, I couldn't just go look at some books like some people would be able to and just retain everything and spit it out on an exam or whatever the case may be. I would have to go through stuff multiple times. That's why for me, I was always able to just get by. I couldn't just, look at something one time and then do very well, but also still do things outside of school that always got me in trouble. You know what I mean? So it was a little different for me, so for me, I just didn't know how well I was going to do until I got to medical school.
So when you got to college, so you were playing football, but you were pre-med from the beginning? Like you knew you wanted to be a doctor?
Yes, I was pre-med from the beginning. So, for me personally, a lot of my classes, especially the first couple of years, were straight up to science classes.
Yeah. Like the prerequisites, bio, chem, all that stuff, right?
Exactly. And so with me, still having that high school mindset of, wanting to just play sports, chase girls, party, my science GPA was outright terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was doing terrible in classes. I was getting D's. I even got an F in one class. And on top of that, my freshman year, I lost everything. My apartment burned down my freshman year.
Oh my God! Wow.
And so you know what I mean. So the first year is always the hardest for anybody because you're trying to transition to this new way of studying.
Yeah.
So I already had that high school mindset. Then my apartment burned down at the football apartments. I lost everything. So trying to do that and then trying to study a night before and all those things, it was just a perfect storm to do terrible.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it was pretty tough.
So then how'd you end up getting into medical school, man? I mean,
So after the first year, I joined a fraternity.
Which one?
Phi Beta Sigma.
Okay.
So we do a lot of stepping, we do a lot of partying, we do a lot of community service.
There's like a lot of discipline part. Is there there's sort of like it's fun and partying and the stuff, but there's also like sort of a lifestyle component where there's like discipline involved and like you're expected to like do well, right? Like
right, exactly. And so that's why I can't thank my fraternity brothers like enough, because if it wasn't for them, yes, my family was always around, but my family was not in the same city as me, so they could only do so much via phone and whatever. So I thank them because my fraternity brothers, although we love to have fun, they were always about business in school. So after I did terrible my first year with me being on probation, I mean, they really whipped me into shape.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They really showed me what I could do if I applied myself.
Right.
And if I didn't apply myself, what they had experienced, what could have happened to me.
Right.
So they were on me tough from the word go before I even joined the fraternity.
Wow.
When I got in the fraternity, it became, they really, really, really opened my eyes. You know what I mean? And, that, and then like I said, my family, and then me being the oldest of four, it kind of, I had to change my mindset and realize that if I didn't do something about it, then my siblings may follow the same path. You know
did they follow your path into medicine?
So they did, all except one.
Oh,
so
really? Get out of here.
Yeah.
He's some proud parents, man.
So you know what? He's we're not surprised. Me and my other siblings are not surprised because he's always been I don't want to call him the oddball, but he's always been different. So I'm the oldest of four. The second oldest went into medicine. He actually played football in college as well for a little while, just for a year though. So he just finished his residency. He's back here in Houston. The third oldest, which is my brother, he went into law.
Okay. Cool.
So he's an attorney now. And then my sister, who's a baby, she's a nurse and who's also in NP school right now.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man. Well, your parents must be so proud of you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We've came a long way. There's no two ways about that.
So where did you end up going to med school?
So I ended up going to med school at Ross School of Medicine.
Okay, cool, man. So you did 2 years there, and then the other 2 years in Texas, or?
Exactly. So I did. So I thank God it's not a full 2 years because I was about to lose my mind.
It's like the middle of nowhere, basically, like an island in the middle of nowhere. Right?
It's in the Caribbean, but it's not the nicer Caribbean. You know what I mean? So I spent 16 months there, and then I did a semester. Then I did a good year and a half in Miami, where I did my clinicals at. I did a few of my clinicals in DC, finished up in New York. So finished my last clinical in
my
New York.
neck of the woods.
Yeah, I did it at clinicals in Wyckoff, Brookdale.
Oh wow.
St. John's Episcopal, and I think it was Staten Island or Long Island, one of the two.
Oh yeah.
Before coming back to Texas for residency.
Okay. Cool, man. And then you you did medicine at Baylor, or?
No, I did my medicine at University of Texas, Tyler, Longview locations. So it's East Texas, about 3 hours from Houston, about an hour and a half from Dallas.
Is that like Redneckville over there? What's like?
No, I thought it was going to be, but it's actually pretty mixed. It's more country than Houston for sure, but it's still pretty diverse there.
Okay, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So I see you're living a bit of like a baller lifestyle. Just checking out your Instagram, and I actually had the same car, not the matte. I like that matte finish that you got in your Bentley.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that your white one wrapped in black, or is that?
Exactly.
Okay.
White wrapped in black. Exactly.
Yeah, I did GT Speed for a while, and that's a fun car, man.
Yeah. It is. I love it, man.
Yeah. Cool, man. Then you get married soon, right?
Next, what are we in? It's end of July? Yeah, September 8th, so in about a month from now.
Is your wife in medicine as well? Or?
No, she's a chemist/engineer.
Okay.
So cool. she travels a lot for work, a lot.
Oh wow. So just tell me a little bit about your practice and stuff. Like, where are you? It sounds you might be a hospitalist from what, or?
Right. So I graduated residency in 2016. Board certified shortly thereafter. Thank God. Then I did locums for a while in the Louisiana area while I waited for because I was a foreign grad. Most people have to take their boards to be certified, especially in Texas, in order to get your license.
There's like some special exam you need to take too, right?
No. Well, for Texas, you have to take this weird exam, but everyone, whether you're a U.S. grad or a foreign grad, you have to take the same exam.
Okay.
But in order for me, I had to pass my boards in order to get my Texas license.
I got you. Okay.
Got that. So I was doing locums for a while in Louisiana, because you don't need your boards. You don't need your boards to have a license. Beginning of 2017, I started working here as a hospitalist here in Houston, Memorial Hermann Hospital. Beautiful hospital, beautiful hospital, and a beautiful part of Houston. So I'm inpatient. Work on the 7-on, 7-off schedule. And on my weeks off, I pick up a few more shifts.
That's cool.
Pretty busy hospital too.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's one of the busiest in Houston for sure.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's you're hustling, man. That's You're hustling.
Yeah. Trying.
Yeah, that's good, man. It's good, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're obvious. You must be like people must look up to you. I mean, I imagine like the young medical students or even people that you're around must be fascinated by your story. I mean, I can't imagine anyone thinks you're a doctor when you're rolling out to dinner. Yeah. And there must be like a huge shock value that's associated with that. Because you look like an entertainer or something. Like you're a big guy. You're rolling in a fancy car and all that stuff.
Right.
Tell me just a little bit about that part of your life. Like I'll let you just take it from there, man.
Sure. So, my parents are very, very popular. So Houston is the biggest port when it comes to Nigerians in the country.
Oh, like
there's not a city in the country that has more Nigerians than Houston. So my parents are in the population, in the community, they're one of the most popular people, not just in Houston, but say the Texas and around the country. Oh, wow. And with me being the oldest, people have always looked up to me. Right. You know what I mean? And so because I've had this life that people can relate to, people have always looked up to me. So going through medical school, you can tell that with me going up in the ranks and being in a field that's very respected, more and more people look up to you, more and more people are motivated. So after I got done with medical school, after I got done with medical school, that's when the floodgates open, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram. And I mean, just every day it's just a wave of messages from people inspired by my story. Because, obviously there's African Americans in the field of medicine. But there's African Americans who look like me, and then there's other African Americans. There's some African Americans that are by the book, everything is on the book for them. And then you have people like me where I have earrings, I have tattoos, I play football, I live the lifestyle that a lot of people would love to live, and not be associated with being a rapper or athlete. So it's like I'm like the perfect image to a lot of people.
It's the best of both worlds.
Exactly. Without having to be this, professional athlete or musician. So I mean, it's been crazy the messages that I've received. Even before you saw that message, a couple of stuff went on Facebook, went viral about me because I was wearing scrubs and wearing Jordans and so on and so forth. So. It's been a blessing that I've been able to motivate others, inspire others that they can still do things and be successful, even with not having the cleanest background.
Right. Totally, man.
So I enjoy it, and in any way I can help to give back to the community, I'm all for it.
And your patients must love you too. I find like one of my biggest skills as a doctor is like not being like the typical doctor.
Exactly.
And just being able to talk to patients about, just shit in life, what's going on with them, and and like you can't, you're a person, like you're a regular person. Exactly. You seem like really relatable. I mean, this is our first time talking, and I'm having a very easy time, talking to you. I'm sure your patients pick up on that. It's like been a huge asset, especially if you're in like an urban environment, and patients are already so nervous, kind of going into the system, to see a doctor, and they see someone that they can relate to, and it's like, hey, this is the deal. It just it feels so much more comfortable,
For sure. So, when you've been through medical school and residency, there's a different type of personality that you kind of experience through your colleagues, and then there's people that are that have personalities and are able to relate to everyone. And so I totally agree with what you're saying. And the fact that anytime I walk in a room, first and foremost, I don't wear white coats a lot. That's just not my thing.
I never wear a white coat. I don't even own a white coat. Yeah.
I hate it. Yeah. I hate it. So I'll wear scrubs, or I'll wear a face or something like that. And so automatically when I walk in, are you about to take me to go get imaging? Or are you about to do physical therapy? So they never believe you're a doctor from jump. Which I'm totally fine with that, and I appreciate that, because I love to be able to kind of change that mentality that a lot of people tend to have. So I mean, patients and the family members always love me because I can just sit down and just talk to them about stuff and not feel like this is a doctor-patient thing. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's always, and I always get rave reviews on stuff like that, because a lot of medicine is just really being able to build that relationship. And if you can do that from day one, everything from that point on, it just makes it so much easier.
Absolutely right.
Okay. Totally. And that's one of the things that I can tell, even speaking with you, I can tell that we are able to do. One of the assets that we have versus some of the other physicians that are not as easier to talk to, you know what I mean, don't have these personalities that a lot of patients are easy to, clinch on. So that's why I love that where we're at, because we can talk to patients, you know what I mean, and use that to our advantage in the field of medicine.
Totally, man. How far into your career are you, man? How long have you been practicing for?
So graduated 2016, so barely 2 years.
It's a baby, man, a baby. That's
still a baby.
It's interesting, man. So I've been doing this for like a decade now. I started my practice like about 10 years ago, and It's a pretty cool thing because, like, you know, the longer you're practicing and, like, the more comfortable even, like, you get in your own shoes, like, doing what you do. Right. I could be, like, even more of myself now. So it's, like, it's so much fun now, like, seeing patients because I'm just literally having, like, this. Right, talking to my patients in the same way. You know, when I first started out, sometimes it's like, all right, you know, like, yeah, I'm going to be me, but, like, maybe I should be a little bit more conservative or, you know, not put all my true colors out there. But it gets better and better, man. You know, it's a fun ride, man. And it's if you love medicine, there's no better job in the world, man. I mean, that's you know.
And that's good to hear because I'm the way you said you were when you initially started is kind of how I am now. So I'm still who I am. I will never change who I am. But because I'm still young and pretty much kind of like a virgin to the field of medicine and a baby. And I sometimes I tend to hold back, you know what I mean? Because I want to make sure that I'm still very, very professional, but I know that over the years, like how you are now, I'm sure that's how I'll be in the next.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guarantee you're going to be like that. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. So what do you got going on this weekend? You got any good plans? Your last weekend? Back?
So because, you know, like I said, I wasn't supposed to work today. I have a couple of my friends that are coming into town. So we're going to just have fun. You know, party a little bit.
So what do you guys do? Like, you go to like a club or?
Yes, we do clubs, but when we do clubs, we don't go. Some people can go to clubs every Friday and Saturday like it's nothing. When we go to clubs, there has to be a celebration, whether it's a birthday, whether it's a graduation, whether it's something. So we go to maybe a lounge or a bar, you know what I mean, and go to like brunch parties and things like that. That's cool. But the club scene is overrated, man.
So your friends that come down, they're gonna stay with you at your house? Or?
Yeah. So they stay at my house. I built this house from scratch.
Yeah, it looks nice, man. I saw you walking around it. It looks like a pretty baller house, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I built it. It's been a year now, a little over a year now that I moved into the house.
That's awesome.
So they'll be staying with me for the weekend.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. I think I learned a lot about you, man. I appreciate this. This is you seem like a real good dude, man. And I think you're gonna just hearing the stories and just help so many people, man. And then, you know, I really appreciate you taking the time and like responding to the message. You know, it's I think it's important for these things to get out there. You know, because like I can tell you, there's like 100 kids who are just like who you were in high school that are like, you know what, forget it. Like I want to be a doctor, but I don't think I could ever do it. Or I want to be a lawyer, I don't think I could ever do it.
Sure.
And like hearing that you did it, you know, that's just going to motivate and inspire so many people, man.
Right, and I'll leave it with this as well. Is obviously people feel like once you get to medical school, oh, you've made it. You know what I mean? That's the mentality. Like, okay, I'm good. Everything else should be coaching from there. Yeah. But even for me, even when I got to medical school, I thought everything was going well. And then and as your doctor, I'm sure you heard of myasthenia gravis.
Yeah.
I got diagnosed with myasthenia gravis during medical school.
Oh, no way, man. You know, I actually wanted to ask you about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. Because you were in the ICU and you were like intubated and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I was undiagnosed for probably almost felt like a month. Didn't know what was going on. They was throwing out diagnoses like multiple sclerosis and so on and so forth.
Let me just take a minute, just explain, just in case people don't know what myasthenia gravis is. So basically, myasthenia gravis is like this autoimmune condition where antibodies just start attacking your ability to move. So like, you know, sometimes you can see double vision and, you know, that's like the least extent of it, but it can get so bad where the muscles that you use to breathe don't work. Right. And in those extreme cases, you know, you have to have a tube put in so that, you know, that'll breathe for you. And I believe that's what happened to you, right?
Right. So I had double vision 24/7, so you can imagine how hard it was to drive. I would have to cover one eye with a patch so that I could see, which was also obviously dangerous because then I have a huge blind spot.
Yeah.
I had the double vision, had the fatigue, I had the muscle fatigue, so I couldn't really shoot for a long period of time. Neck muscle fatigue, and then I also had every once in a while I have this trouble breathing. You know what I mean? So it wasn't until I did a CAT scan.
Did you just ignore it though? Like you were just like, all right, whatever, you know?
I ignored it initially because I had the ptosis initially. You know what I mean? And I remember like it was yesterday where I was at when I noticed ptosis for the first time. But I kind of blew it off because you you kind of think, okay, this can never happen to me, so it must be something I may have slept wrong or whatever. Right. But when it got when it became constant and it got worse and worse, and obviously it became more serious, and it wasn't until we got imaging done and it showed that I had what they thought was a thymoma, which scared the shit out of me because I thought, you know, you hear thymoma and you read the books about it and you think, oh shit, my life is about to end. So when I got a second opinion, I had thymic hyperplasia. Okay. But because my symptoms were getting worse and they were starting to affect my breathing and so on and so forth, we underwent surgery, and so I had to be intubated and was in the ICU for a while, and they did a thymectomy. And this was just a few months before.
Is that open chest? How did it?
No, so now they do a procedure called minimally invasive thymectomy.
Okay.
So I had a chest tube and all that, but they didn't have to open up my chest. And then, imagine this was a few months before my step one.
Holy shit, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, so my school tried to have me take a leave of absence to focus on myself and come back, and I refused to do so. So I fought through hell to get back, mentally and physically, and sat down for my test with symptoms, neck muscle fatigue. So I'm sitting there trying to take a test, 8-hour test, and I'm having to hold my head up and deal with all that. So it was one of the worst 8 hours of my life trying to take a test.
Holy crap, man.
For me personally, I felt like I owed myself to if I can take it, if I can think, if I can open my eyes, I'm gonna take this test. You know what I mean? So I still did well on my test and was able to move forward from there. And my symptoms at that point started to was getting better and better and better. So I still take steroids, a low dose every 2-3 days.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I'm still on medications now.
Is
but
that
my symptoms
lifelong or like?
So I've tried to wean off a couple of times during residency, but when I weaned off, probably about a month later, my symptoms would come back.
Oh, no way, wow.
And they would come back to the point where I have to increase the steroids too much.
Oh, wow.
But so I have to take it, but I take it every 2 or 3 days now. Okay. Minimal dose. I mean, I'm taking 10 milligrams every 2 or 3 days, which is not much. And I rarely have any symptoms whatsoever.
You take calcium and vitamin D too?
No, I don't take calcium and vitamin D, even though I probably should. But I eat well, and I'm still in that mindset of like, well, I work out 6 times a week, you know, and I eat really well. Yeah. And I've had bone scan. I've had to do a bone scan done already, a DEXA scan. Okay. And it was fine. So I haven't been taking anything of that nature.
That's a pretty crazy part of your life, man.
Oh man, yeah. So it's been one thing after another. So that's why I've always wanted to share my story with people and let people know, like, hey, even when you get to medical school, it's not just. I mean, things can still happen. You know, I mean, you can still have to overcome obstacles, which I've had to. So.
Well, that's the path to success, man. You know, it's just riding through that adversity, man. Because everyone has it in their life. You know, it's
exactly.
Someone once told me I'm sure it's like an old saying, but the rainy day comes to everybody, right? So
exactly,
it's just how you deal with it, you know. Like, and that's what makes a man. You know, that's what makes a woman. That's what makes that's what creates success.
Exactly,
is persevering through that, man. It's like, you know, anyone who's been successful, there's 15 failures, like tragic failures in their life probably before that success. But everyone just sees the guy you are now. It's like, oh, this guy's got it all. You know, he's a doctor. It's like everything's perfect in his life, but you work to make it that way. You know, and you work through some serious shit to get that, you know. And you deserve, and like, you know, you appreciate what you have, I'm sure, because you worked so hard for it. Like, you know, so that's good stuff, man. Dude, last thing, I mean, I saw like in one of your posts that you read a lot of business books and stuff. I think it was on your trip to Nigeria. You had a couple of business books. Like, are you an avid reader? Like, you read?
I'm not an avid reader. I'm an avid reader when it comes to ways to expand, I guess, the money and income. Yeah. So I won't go reading books just for the hell of it, but when it comes to me having to do one thing or another from a business point of view, I'm going to read it.
So what are you involved in? Like, what kind of stuff do you get involved in?
So right now, you know, I've been waiting for my siblings to finish school because I'm very close to my siblings. So we have plans of doing things, whether it's opening up possible facilities like a nursing home in the future, skilled nursing facility in the future. I am in the process of becoming a medical director for a hospice company. Oh wow! And also skilled nursing facilities. So I'm trying to learn the business aspect of it because they don't teach you that in medical. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do things like that in the health field, but also branch out of the health field because I'm from Nigeria. So I'm planning on doing things with my parents in Nigeria and opening up, condominiums and possibly open up a hospital. That's down the road. So
that's it, man.
I got a lot of things that I want to do, and thank God that I'm 32 and have a lot of energy because I'm gonna do all of it as much as I can.
Listen, once you said I'm very close with my trainer. And he, one of the big things, his name's Rasan. One of the big things he always says is, like, once you say it, like, it's going to happen, you know?
Right.
So I'm a big believer in that, man. So you just said all those things. It almost makes you accountable to it, you know, like, and with all the things that you've accomplished already in your life, it's like, you know, you could do it. Like, you know, you just have to do it. You know, it's all hustle and grind, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great stuff, man. That's awesome.
I appreciate that.
Well, I hope we get to hook up, man. I hope, if you ever swing through New York, man, just you gotta look me up. You know?
For sure. What part of New York you said?
I live in Long Island, but I have an office in Manhattan, and I have an office out in Long Island, so I bounce between the two. I have 3 kids. I'm married with 3 kids, so we moved out to the burbs, man. You know, needed more space.
I gotcha. I was just out there in New York in June.
Oh, for real?
I go there. It's for me because, like I said, I lived there for 8-9 months during the hurricane time.
Yeah.
Which was terrible, but. I go every year, at least once a year.
Oh, cool, man.
Especially during the summertime. I don't care for the winter there, but the summertime.
All right, cool, man. So listen, next time you roll through, look me up.
Definitely.
All right, man. Listen, sorry, I'm gonna let you go, man. I really appreciate you spending a lot of time with me, man, and I think I really appreciate getting to know you better, man. You know, I think, like I said, you have a great story that's gonna help a lot of people, and I'm really excited to get it out there, man.
I appreciate you taking the time to reach out to me and get my story out there.
All right, Curtis. I hope to see you soon, man.
All right. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, man. You too, man. Take care. All right. Bye now.